Hi, everybody. Russ from Miami's 11. Hope you're safe and well. Another edition of Russ's Rambles where we do something a little bit more general football, but still with like a little tinge, like a little taste of West Ham. But we'll come to that in a minute with Paco. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon so you're made of any time new content. Today's episode is brought to you as ever with our channel sponsors, Untuck It. Busting an Untuck It shirt today, which is good. They even fit me, these shirts, and they're designed to be untucked. So there we go. If it's good enough for Kevin De Bruyne, it's good enough for me. So make sure you check out the URL to find out more. Lots of promotions and stuff. Anyway, today's guest is a guy you might not necessarily know, but you will know in the next half hour, 40 minutes or so, because he's a really cool dude. It's Paco Craig. How are we today? Or Gigi? We'll call you Gigi. Is that what you want to call today?
Gigi. Yeah, Gigi. My good friends call me Gigi.
Okay, well, I'll be a good friend by the end of it. So, okay, yeah. Gigi. So basically, Gigi is a professional football player, defender by trade. He's had quite an unusual journey into football. Coming, obviously he's from London, but he went to the States. Graduated in college, played at UCL, which is like the second tier before MLS. Came back and struggled to get a club at the moment, innit? To be fair, Corona's just fucked everything up, basically, to be honest with you. So we'll talk about that a bit later on. But in terms of general football, as a defender, Gigi, obviously this weekend we've had 3 sort of incidences of simulation. Penalty simulation. Yeah, we'll say simulation. I don't, although one was against us with Salah, but Harry Kane and Callum Wilson. What's going on at the moment? Why do you think so many players are throwing themselves like they're being shot all over the place now?
As a defender, I'm having a hard time with this one as well, because even the one Pogba gave away, it technically he touched him. But then after the touch, it's not like the guy lost his footing. It's not like he's gonna slip over. No. He could have stayed on his feet. So I just guess it's because they're allowed to get away with it. That it's like, why not? If as a defender, I hate to see it, but if a striker of mine won a penalty doing that, I'm gonna I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut and just take it.
Yeah, so it's true.
They're just allowed. They get away with it. They for some reason the rules of the game have led it to a point where that sort of play is rewarded.
Yeah, I know. It just seems to be a spate, doesn't it? Then they clamp down for it for a while. So I remember got a while ago. Lanzini, I remember getting a too much ban for simulation a couple of years ago, and like for example, with my claret and blue tinted glasses on, obviously Salah on Saturday was it Saturday? Sunday? Yeah, Saturday, that was it. I was waiting for the game to finish so I could order my curry. Yes, it was a Saturday. He got letter of the law. He took a touch. Masuaku did touch him in the box, but he tapped the bottom of his foot and he went down like he'd been garroted or something like that.
Well, I said the same thing, man. I actually detest it. It's something that I really wish wouldn't be around. Even in that game, I was really upset because obviously I'm biased as well as a defender.
Yeah.
And you're not supposed to dive in, this and that, but you're gonna make contact. That will happen eventually, and so. I guess it might. It must be really difficult for the referee. It must be because they seem to be getting it wrong every now and then. But that's why I was hoping VAR might.
Yeah, exactly.
I think this year has done well in figuring out a few red card decisions. I thought finally it looked like it was doing all right. So maybe they can start using it for this situation as well. But if not, it's just going to keep on going on.
It needs to be sorted, innit? Because everyone's talking about it. Obviously, Klopp comes out and says, I don't know what's the matter. Of course, he doesn't matter because he got the penalty.
You would say that.
Moyes, like, what's going on? This is ridiculous. But I know what you mean. Because it has seemed. Referees are using the screen more. Obviously, that same Liverpool game we had where the goal disallowed for Liverpool, where the referee actually went to the. Although I don't really understand why it took him so long to go to the screen. It took like 5 minutes, and it just seems that can't sort it out. Do you know what I mean? They've had so long to do it as well, and also they had 100 days without no football as well, where they could have had a proper go at it. You know what I mean? But.
I think we're overestimating the power, like how humans behave. If you had 100 days off and that to figure something out, you'd probably use the last 5 or 10, wouldn't you, to actually sort out the issue? Also a big thing with VAR is like it will take a while to refine itself and become better. But at the end of the day, it was fundamentally changed the way football is enjoyed. So even if it was doing a perfect job, people won't enjoy it because it's not how it used to be. So so I think with VAR, people are able to sort of work with it and not resist it. They might be able to like to leave it, you know, let it not let it bother them as much.
Yeah. No, you're right. And I mean, it's stuff, as you said, it's completely changed the way we celebrate goals now. So it's like, you know, a goal goes in, like,
that's dead. It is dead.
and you wait till they kick off the corner, and you like, well, kick it off. You go, right, okay, it's a goal now because it's in the, you know, it's in that game of play. But I mean, even that, you know, because we sort of have to play at the moment, we have to play goal music at the Premier League. So it's like I press the button, and it's like, you know, you think, is it going to be a goal? You know, and it's like the first time I pressed it, it was the Chelsea game last season. That's when they brought it in properly. And the first time I pressed it, it was a disallowed goal for Thomas Souček, and I'm like, oh man, that just, you know, it's going to happen.
So
but
there's a lot of people adversely affected by it, but unfortunately, it's something. It's like whenever you change anything that is loved and known so well, then no matter what, people are going to have something. Like it takes an adjustment period, you know, and however long that will be, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I think even since restart, you know, people have adjusted quite well to not having to go to games. You know, I mean, there's guys like, I mean, you play it's slightly different, but there's guys who, you know, some old guys might have been going 40, 50 years every home game, and you know, the last 10, 12 games they haven't been able to, but they've had to watch it at home, and it's obviously it's horrible, but you know, in terms of what's happened, but you know, people have adjusted to it quite well, I think, and you know, the chances are we're not getting any fans in the stadiums, I reckon, until next season. I don't think they're going to bother now. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's the last thing to go, isn't it? Is the last thing would be having 60,000 people at London Stadium or 45 at Stamford Bridge or whatever, isn't it?
Definitely, it's but I have found it not necessarily curious, but it's made me smile a bit that football was one of the first things to come back. Like it's like no matter what, if England needs to have stability and stay calm, football needs to be on TV. You know what I mean? It's like one of the most fundamental pillars of our culture. But yeah, I mean, in terms of filling stadiums, it's gonna be a while. So I don't know, like, but then even watching at home, like it's nice watching games at home, and there's a lot more football on at home. But then the box office side of things is a bit. That's like, but then again, they're hemorrhaging money. They must be hemorrhaging money, but at the same time, like it's not the fans. It's always the taxpayers, you know, the public who has to pay the bill. You know,
it's not. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it at all. I think, you know, actually, you know, I do a lot of work for the Iron Supporting Food Banks charity, and obviously we're saying, look. Yeah, I mean, West Ham playing playing Fulham on the weekend. That's a pay-per-view. Everyone's saying, don't bother playing the money. Donate 15 quid to the food banks. You know, for 3 quid, you can feed someone for like 4 days or something ridiculous like that. And obviously they're doing well out of that because it's needed even more so after Thursday. Do you know what I mean? But it's and you know, nowadays with the internet and a bit of Googling, I didn't say nothing, Gigi, but you know, you can find stuff, or you can watch a watch along. You know, there's loads of cool YouTubers.
When I was in America, that's all I did was just look for dodgy streams because I mean the games weren't on TV; they weren't on, so you had to watch them somehow. You know, and there's always a way. I think I brushed up on my Russian and my Arabic. But it went well.
But then I always ended up at like, I don't know, like Al Jazeera or something like that. And then you've got Richard Keys and Andy Gray as the commentators and Glenn Hoddle. And you're like, there's some serious money going on there, I tell you. Serious money.
There's a whole world. I mean, there's a whole world just keeps rolling along no matter what. So.
Crazy, isn't it? But you're right about football. Football needs to come back because, like, you know, it gives everyone something to moan about. Like, you know, it's like, you know, whatever happens from Thursday onwards, we've got obviously a whole weekend of football at the moment, the Premier League. So everyone's going to moan about that and not be so worried about toilet roll.
Yeah, I think if football was to go, then you would see violent revolution. You would see immediately. But the fact that football's there, just enough of the percentage of the population is appeased, you know.
Just to be sane, Well, it's true because I mean there was that 100 days, wasn't it? There was no Premier League football, and you saw people clucking. I mean, I started this channel on that basis because I was like, do you know what? I just can't watch any more female reality TV program. I can't watch any more Real Housewives of Cheshire or
Netflix has been rinsed as well.
Australian Married at First Sight or 90 Day Fiance. I can't watch anymore. I need to go and just do something masculine and talk about football. And that's why people, because it is, and you know, it's, and that's why the channel did quite well, because everyone's sort of looking back rather than worried about relegation or whatever with David Moyes and Bourne. People could look back, and that's what I think. Now it's sort of, now the football's all sorted in terms of you know, you go and get your temperature checks and everyone gets all their tests and stuff. You know, it's all sorted. So I didn't expect football to stop after Boris's announcement on Saturday.
No, not a chance. But the only thing is, the lower leagues, man, they're struggling.
Exactly.
I don't have my ear close enough to the ground, but it doesn't sound good at all. It's like it seems to be like weeks and weeks away from some sort of collapse or some sort of erosion.
It's awful, isn't it? It's awful. Although I read today that the 10 teams outside it's like 10 teams who are allowed to play on Saturday because it's the first round proper of the FA Cup,
right?
And because that's an elite competition, they can play them. You know, so obviously there's no like League One, there's no like Championship or Premier League games in those, obviously, but you know the sort of the non-league and the lower league teams that are in there. So that's something. But yeah, you're right. It's not looking good for them. And you know, and to be honest, you know, segueing back to you, man, you know, coronavirus just came at the wrong time for you, didn't it? Really?
Yeah, it's not looking good for me either, mate. It's not looking. Yeah, it did come out. I was off the back of like some well-built success in America. And it had gone well, but I'd sort of hit a glass ceiling. In that sense, I wasn't really content with where I was. I was so far away from home that and playing a level that I thought was a little bit beneath me. Not to say it wasn't competitive, but I knew I could do better. So I took it upon myself to take the risk at the end of last season, which was this November 2019, to come back home. And because I was able to get some decent trials, and I thought, if whatever happens, this is what I want to do. So even if it doesn't work out, and I might even end up going back over there, like at least there'll be no regrets. So I took the plunge, and to be honest, it started off well. In November. I joined in with December. Sorry, I joined in with QPR. I was able to get into them through some connections. Basically, it wasn't too much. They weren't looking for a centre back or anything. And when I got there, they gave me a week. You know, they were like, yeah, you can come in and train with us. We'll have a look at you. You know, but I'm an unknown. They have no idea who I am. They don't have any real stats on me because we're not on like the European like statistics and analysis like websites and all of that. So then when I showed up, without boasting too much, like I balled out. I was extremely at the right pace with everyone. I didn't miss a beat in that sense. I kind of gelled in with them very quickly and proved that technically and tactically I'm as competent as any of the other players in my position at the club. So I ended up staying there for 5 weeks instead. It was like the week had run up and I didn't hear anything. So I was like, all right,
keep turning up.
You're not telling me to not show up again, and I'm gonna keep coming because it's QPR. Like it was a dream. It was a dream scenario for me. Because I hadn't really been in that sort of elite situation from since I was 18. So I was like, all right, as long as they don't tell me anything, I'm gonna keep showing up and keep training hard. And it went well. It went really well. But because they weren't necessarily looking for a centre back, they couldn't quite sort out a deal, and they couldn't really come to terms with a contract. And so the coach, Mark Warburton, I hope he doesn't mind me saying, but he liked me well enough to help me. And then that's when he kind of sort of helped me open the door open at Wickham. And so for January, February, even early March, I was actually with Wickham then after when that didn't work out. And it went really well there too. I thought I clearly showed them I was good enough to play. I was thinking, all right, like QPR was a dream scenario, but at least I proved to myself that that's the level I can play technically. Like my ability is as good as enough to be at QPR. I understand that it's not all about ability in pretty much every industry. So when I went to Wickham, it went well too. And then they gave me like a monthly rolling contract. So like they signed me, but kind of monthly till the end of the summer. And then we'll have a review after that. So I was like, all right, I mean, that's the best I can get. And they're doing well in League One. So this is fantastic. This is kind of the dream idea scenario of what I wanted to do when I came over here. Then obviously things started to fall apart. And when the lockdown was announced and training, there was no more training. They just sort of said, look, we're going to just stick with the squad we have, which is fair enough. I mean, they made the right decision in the end, because obviously they ended up winning the playoffs. So
yeah, of course.
So it was tough luck for me, but it was things that were out of my control. So.
Yeah, and it must be like, I mean, it must be difficult. So just to fill the gaps in for everyone watching. So basically, Gigi played. So from under 14s to under 18s, Gigi played at West Ham. What a surprise! During your time at West, because like everyone would shout at me if I didn't talk about West Ham playing sort of youth team, because obviously
I'd love to talk about them. No
good, because although as a trouble, although I try to do generic football, it's like it's West Ham just gets into you and you can't get away from it.
It's the academy of football, isn't it?
It's the academy, so that's always good on someone's resume. And what was it like being part of that team? Because obviously some players who would have come through those sort of times with you there as well, that people would have heard of as well. And obviously West Ham is the academy of football. You're part of it 4 years, all the way to under 18s. You captained the side a few times as well, the 18s. What was it like there? What was it like there, man?
I think I've only really known what it was like on reflection, because it was an incredible experience. It was absolutely where I got my education in football.
Sure.
So I always had talent. I was always good, but that's where I learned how to actually play technically, like be good in possession with the ball, and play actual football. So I'll always give them the credit for that. They definitely made us feel like we were on our way to being professionals. They looked after us very well, and I don't know, man. Like, you always want it back, because when I was young and at the time, like, obviously I took things a little lighter, a little bit.
Of course you did, yeah. You kid.
You're walking through the training ground and then you're rubbing shoulders. A lot of the first team boys are there or thereabouts and near you, or you eat lunch near them and that. So you're like walking past them all the time. Like, at the time when I was young, obviously, like Matty Upson or Rob Green or Carlton Cole and like Scott Parker and Mark Noble, obviously, when he was younger, and I mean, and all the boys that went through as well there. You look at them like they are different. You definitely feel an awe when they're walking past, but at the same time, you're like, I was the type of kid where if I didn't know someone, then I didn't really care about them, I needed to know you to be like, oh wow, like I really I love you and respect you. I was I wasn't a typical footballer, so to speak. I had I had a few other hats, and my head was in a few different other places. It wasn't always like eat, sleep, dream football. So I definitely kind of floated through it without really appreciating the opportunity I was being given, I would say.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, it makes sense. I'm being funny, So, and again, we'll go back a little bit further, just filling in a few more gaps. Yeah. So obviously, Gigi's dad is Gigi's dad was part of a very famous band.
Yeah.
As well. So obviously music and stuff like that is part and parcel of your life as well. And so, as you said, you've got all these different hats, and obviously when you're at school as well, you played a bit of football and rugby and basketball and everything as well, didn't you? So it's any sport. And that's the thing. I think it's just, there's so much. I mean, you say how your head was a bit sort of not really there and stuff, but you would want it back. Of course, you'll be as a kid, isn't it? So it's like you took everything in stride. Kids have this remarkable confidence, and it also with your dad and stuff like that. You'd see them on stage, and it's part of the family. Obviously, you're part of a really cool family as well. I know your brother very well. And so, it's just, all this stuff going, man. It was, and then what was the decision to go to America? Because obviously, you'd left under 18s, West Ham released you. You went to Bishop Stortford for a bit, didn't you? Yeah. And then why go to America? Why go to college in America? What's the thought process behind that?
I don't want that. So, sorry about that. So, to be honest, like most kids, and unfortunately the very tragic story we heard about recently, when I got released, like you're very lost. You're jaded. You're very jaded. So like you feel like I don't know anyone else, but personally I acted like it didn't hurt. But then because I was acting like it didn't hurt, I was numb. You know, I was a bit desensitized to the world for a little while. And so in that sense, like there's not really anyone. Well, I'm sure some people do, but there wasn't really anyone giving me a clear guidance in football. I had a support group. I had my family and my friends, and everyone was still there. But there was no real arm around my shoulder, like let me mentor you, footballly speaking, to get you to where you know you should be and where you want to be. So I was lost. Any opportunity that presented itself, I thought, you know, why not? Like, might as well try it. So when I found Bishop Stortford, it was obviously they're a Conference South team, but because the Conference North team got kicked out of the league or something, they had to be the next team to go.
Yeah, because I saw that, because I was like,
it was just dead. It was like you had to drive up to like Blythe Spartans or something up near Sunderland to play I mean, let's not mince the words here, like a horrible game of football.
Yeah.
And I was spoiled. I was absolutely spoiled at the Academy of Football. Because it was all football, it was technical, it was everything's on a silver spoon for you, no matter what. Yeah. So, which is, I think, a massive issue with English talent now. Anyway, they're made to feel like superstars before they've done anything, before they've even lifted a single trophy, let alone like put up good stats.
If that's the case, Gigi, there'll be all the West Ham lot. For 40 years, we haven't picked up a trophy. But yeah, I know you really care, man.
Well, that's what I'm saying, man. There's some serious issues in academy football in England. The way we nurture talent needs to be assessed. But anyways, and obviously that tragic story kind of brings that to light.
Of course, yeah.
So I played this season with them, and it was a great learning experience. I played some centre mid games, some centre back games. I had a good impact in the game, and we did well on the team, and we did well. But at the same time, you're rubbing shoulders with guys who work, you know, plasterers, plumbers, like laborers. You're rubbing shoulders with guys who are like 30, 35, who are like, you know, just this is it for them. Or so you're not really in like an environment of excellence. You know, you're not really in an environment where everyone's like, right, I'm still committed to going as far as I can, as high as I can. So I didn't feel much inspiration, and I was thinking, I've got no education. Like, this could be me. Like, this could be it. This could be the standard I play for X amount of years. Obviously, as an 18, 19-year-old, I didn't realize that it's actually a pretty decent place to start out at, especially with the background I have. But at the time, I couldn't see the future. The future to me looked kind of bleak if I stuck around, because you're driving like late night in the wintertime to like some 8 p.m. training session where half the guys aren't there, it's raining and that, it's a dead session, and you go home late, you wake up, you're not like, you're training twice a week, like the whole thing stopped feeling like that's what I wanted to do. Yeah. And again, so my mum, who's obviously massive on education, was like trying to look at other things for me, a little bit panicking a little bit and looking for other options. She was like, what about this? What about if you go to America, you get a great scholarship, you can go to uni, but you play football and it's all free. And being a very like open-minded and like without bragging again, like I've been exposed to lots of cultures growing up. My mum's from Italy. I speak Italian. I've got family in Italy. I've always like rubbed with different cultural backgrounds. I was very comfortable with that. I was like, you know what, like that sounds like a good experience, and if I hate it, I'll just come back. You know what I mean? So that's basically it. There wasn't even much thinking at the time. You're just lost. You're just like many kids who get released, you fall into the thing that basically gets presented to you that kind of makes a little bit of sense, and then you spend a couple years trying to see if this is like you can patch something together out of it, you know, after that. But like it was that sort of decision. It was like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, let's go for it.
Cool, something funny. 19-year-old bloke, do you want to go America and live in your own America? Yeah,
run away for a while.
Yeah, too right, you know. And it's obviously, you know, the college football. Then after that, graduated, got your education. Mum will be happy. Yeah. And then obviously Louisville City, and you was there for a few years, weren't you? They were quite successful. You did all right there, didn't you?
Yeah, they're actually probably statistically the most successful sporting team in America. I don't know about the world, but in America, because they've only been around 6 years, and I've played for them for 4. So I missed the first year they were around, and I missed this one when I came home. But they've always finished at least second in the conference. And obviously the American league system is set up a bit more like the NBA, if you know much about There's an East Conference and a West Conference. You basically play each other in your conference. Then you do a playoffs, which is a knockout tournament of the top 4 or top 8, sorry, of your conference. And then the winner of that playoff plays the winner of the West playoff in the actual championship game. So it's like the NBA basically. And we always only ever finish second in our conference every season. And then we always made it to the playoff final of the East. So we always made it to our conference final every season we've been around. And then we've won our conference final 3 times in a row, actually, we won it. And then we won the whole thing twice in a row. So like, we're always basically up there. We're basically like the Real Madrid of the USL.
The Real Madrid, yeah. You like the Bulls.
Excellent.
Yeah, like the Chicago Bulls in that 90s with Jordan and all that.
Yeah. Basically, like just winning back-to-back titles.
Yeah.
But
oh man.
And then I loved it too because you knew you were good when teams would equalize against you in the 85th minute and rip their shirts off and scream like they've just won the World Cup. You know, like teams were dying to beat. We had the biggest target on our backs, and I loved it because that's how I wanted it. I wanted someone's best if they're going to play up against me. You know?
Yeah, of course, it makes perfect sense, man. And it's frustrating, as you said, because like because the way it's set up in terms of Europe, having all those stats and all the the Optas and stuff like that, not in European stuff. I mean, coming out of that, really successful. A couple of times you're in the All-Star team or their version of the All-Star team as well, weren't it as well? I've done my research, Gigi. Don't worry, I've done my research. So it's it's surprising that people when you came back, I mean, you didn't think this guy's available. You know what I mean? But obviously he said it's quite difficult. He said getting to QPR, it was like through contacts and stuff.
Yeah, it was a struggle.
So for a guy trying to get a club, is it a lot about who you know rather than what you know? Do you know what I mean in terms of who's who?
It's yes and no. It's like every industry. There's not every single individual can find their own unique route that they have to. So it's not necessarily the most necessary thing, I would say. Because a lot of my issue was I'm just so unknown. So like I actually the connections I got to get through to QPR, they're still helping me out now, and they're very respected and very good at what they do. It's just what I'm hearing now is like, oh well, there's hundreds of free agent players now. It's a bit mad at the moment, and obviously they're going to take ones that have like 100 games in
pedigree. You got pedigree.
They have the stats on. Like I've played 130 professional games. And won most of them, but there's no way of showing that. There's no way of proving that. So it's a bit of everything, man. It's different for every single one. If I had another guy like set me up with a team, then I would be in. But sometimes you just need a team who has an injury, and they're like, and my agent's one talking to them, so they're like, yeah, I've got this centre back, he's ready to go. Then have a look at him, So. It's a bit of everything. It's like any industry, really, like a stroke of luck or right timing or right connection, or you're just flipping brilliant. If you're like shit hot every time you play, then it don't really make a difference, does it?
Nah.
Like they're gonna want you. Yeah.
And in terms of what's the question I was going to ask? Then it just popped in my head. So when you're obviously you're looking for a club now, is there? You said like when you was playing in the UCL. You said you thought it was a little bit below you in terms of your level of standing. And obviously, as you said, because you went to QPR, you sort of played a championship team with a setup. What league? If you just what league is your from upwards? Is it League One? Are you looking at League Two? Is it conference? Is it anything? How is it? What's your if you had like 3 or 4 teams coming up for you, which would be lovely. How do you decide? Is it location? So obviously you live in London. Do you want to go just stay in the south? Or is it I don't care?
I think that definitely drastically changed as the months dragged on. I think I think right at the beginning, I was a little bit. I got a nice taste at the beginning because I was playing good level championship team, and proving to myself that I could play that level was almost like was amazing for me, and to give me a kind of a confidence and a sense of self. But really it was a little bit like, all right, well, nothing else should really count. That's the best. I want to shoot for the best, and I know I can do it. So
Yeah.
like I'm gonna keep my standards high. But then obviously I realized that it's not. There's hundreds. Again, there's gonna be a lot of players in my position.
Yeah.
Maybe some worse than me or some much better than me, even. So I was happy to take League One teams. Definitely happy to take League One teams. But I wasn't willing. I'd had each time I came home from Louisville City, I had options to go train with League Two teams, and I did a couple times. And I always maintained, I was like, if it's not League One or above, then I'm gonna just keep living in America, because the lifestyle and the way they look after you is a lot comfier. It's not necessarily better football and a better
it's the
like
package, isn't it?
industry.
It's the package,
but lifestyle, for life it's pretty good. So it was more League One, but now at this point, if there's a good League Two team that needs a centre back, I'm gonna go there in a heartbeat, because it's mad for me. But like I left Wickham in March, and I've basically just been running myself ragged, keeping myself in shape, training myself the whole time since then.
How does that happen? Are you literally just down the pub? I mean, I know you went to Portugal because just Jared told.
You
see but is it? Because JR opens a can of beans and JR will have a sandwich. You'll put on Instagram, so I know.
If you've got any female listeners, tell them to check the Instagram
out. See, that was talking about JR. It's like he just knocked the phone over. So keeping in trim. Obviously, we've, as I said, a lot of people, like we've seen like the Amazon All or Nothing documentary, the Tottenham lot, when obviously Mourinho and they had Zoom and but for you, obviously, you didn't have a team, you didn't have a program to work with. Is it literally just getting down the park and running miles and kicking balls and stuff like that to get you going, man?
Essentially, yeah. It's more that, it's a bit more than that, but that is it. You wake up and act like you're part of a team. I've had to psychologically imagine that tomorrow I might have to jump in with a team. So I've made the same sacrifices I would make. Like, you're not going out as much. I barely drink. Like, obviously on a Saturday evening every now and then I might, or on a birthday or whatever. It's been like 7 months. I mean, I'm gonna have one drink, but like I'm acting like I was anyway, I'm still part of the team. So you get up early. I go to bed early first of all. Get up early, train. Either on the pitch where I'm doing my own running, or on the pitch where I'm doing my own technical drills, or in the gym where I'm doing more specific movement type workouts. So not necessarily just sitting on the bench press and getting big tits, just puffing up. But like circuit type, quick feet, like light stuff, like plyometric stuff, which is body weight type exercises, and literally that on repeat. So there's been a couple days where I lose my mind a bit, and then just I just want to let loose, or just forget what I'm doing. But for the most part, for the last 8 months or so, I've just been acting like I'm still on a team and living that way.
Well, as you said, it could be a moment's notice. Your agent gives you a call and says, needs a centre back, and I've put your name forward.
It's been a moment's notice for 6 months, mate.
I know, yeah. I can literally just checking that. Is that phone still on?
No. Yeah,
the phone's still on. Yeah, he's on. It's not on silent.
The amount of times I've heard it all this year. I've heard it all because obviously I understand too. You'd hear it all anyway. The football industry. Ask anyone who works in football. It's a disgrace. It's a mess. The amount of, you can have one geezer who 6 people swear by and say he's the nicest guy ever, and then one person will tell you the worst story about how he done you in or something. So it's a tough industry already, and then obviously with how we are now in this situation, it's just thrown everything up in the air even more. So I've heard everything. I've heard this and that, and not been given much at the moment. So
no, exactly. And now obviously we're in the second lockdown, or we'll be on Thursday. It's not looking good for, as you said, for the lower league teams anyway.
Man.
So
now they need a bailout so that they can, I can slip in there somewhere or something. But we'll see. Man.
Well, what we're going to try. Obviously, we're doing this now, and we'll get loads of people watching it, and we'll start a hashtag, get Gigi signed. I'm going to start a hashtag right now. And
use Paco then. Use Paco. I just put Gigi because I didn't realize Gigi would be used so much, but it's my middle name. And so anytime it's put down a name or something.
No, not that one. I'm going to put the right one in. Right. Okay. Let's. Paco, hashtag get Paco signed. Right, we're going to get this going, and this is going to be my mission. Get Paco signed. Get it hashtag. Get it hashtag. Get Paco signed. I'll be on the phone. We'll get you signed.
Appreciate
but yeah,
man.
It'd be good, man. That'd be good. And obviously, then when we do, we can do another video, and we can do like a proper like a sign thing where you've got the shirt, because that'd be cool, man. And
if this gets me signed, then you're getting a bonus. You're getting signed.
I'm getting a bonus. Well, I'm already got plenty of Untuck It shirts. There we go. Link in the description below.
I'll have you covered, mate. Don't worry about that.
That's cool, man. Listen, man, it's been lovely chatting to you. I've really enjoyed it, and hopefully everyone at home would have enjoyed it as well. It's been really cool, man. And obviously, thank you. I really appreciate your time. And as I said, hashtag get Paco signed. That's going to be on my every one of my these things. We're going to get that sorted, man. It's going to be good. And so cheers, man. I really appreciate your time. And obviously, thank you to everyone who's been watching. If you're watching on YouTube, like, share, subscribe. If you're listening to it on podcasts and Spotify or Apple. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all that stuff. Whatever it is, give it a like, give it a share. For me and Paco, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Wash your hands, everybody. Very important.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you again very soon.
Wait. Let me throw one in there as well. Wash your hands, but take your vitamins. Get some good rest and look after your immune system as well. The immune system. I'm a big believer in. You look after your immune system, it'll look after you. So
exactly. Eat those oranges as well.
Yeah.
Keep that vitamin C up, man. But yeah, and
thank you very much for having me, man.
Absolute really pleasure. So just as I said, for me and Paco, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Hashtag get Paco signed, and we'll see you again very soon. Take care, everyone. Cheers. Bye bye.